Hey, what's going on? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So today we got a pretty big announcement in the Splinterlands ecosystem, and it came from Peakmonsters. They are going to be launching their own utility token, and it is going to be available for Peakmonsters users, first in an airdrop, and then also as ongoing rewards. And I'm going to walk through that with you right now. But I hope you've been listening to me and using the Peakmonsters marketplace, because if you do, you will benefit from an airdrop, which we will get into right now. So this was the announcement on PeakD. I'm not going to do any sort of price speculation or anything like that, because we're just getting this information, and I think it's impossible to sort of gauge how something like this is going to play out. But this is some very exciting news, and ultimately it's just another way for you to get rewarded for your Splinterlands use, right? If you've been using the Peakmonster marketplace, this is going to be an ongoing reward for you, and it could potentially unlock some new features, which we'll get into in a second. So basically, they give some examples of potential utility. So there's going to be some profit sharing opportunities if you're staking your, I believe it's PKM, yes, PKM. There'll be some profit sharing opportunities for Peakmonsters, which I think is really cool, right? If I really love the Peakmonsters marketplace, so if I want a share of that 5% seller's fee for every single transaction, there's a way I could get part of that through staking my PKM. Obviously need to see what that looks like, but that's potentially exciting. Peakmonsters specific tournaments. So I assume it would be built into Splinterlands, where the entry fee would be in PKM, but depending on how those rewards are structured, that's another cool thing. To validate creation of new features for loyal Peakmonsters users only. Ooh, so this is really exciting. As someone personally who's used Peakmonsters a ton, if they could come out with specific features on their site that benefit people who hold certain amounts of PKM, right? And we've seen that a little bit with their tier structures that allow you to take care of to utilize the bid features to varying amounts based on how much you've spent, which the tiers actually play into this for the airdrops as well. But if they, based on how much PKM you owned, if you got access to like new up and coming resources that could give you a leg up in Splinterlands, that would be something I would be very interested in. Yep, so these just seem like ideas. I think these are three great ideas off the top of my head, and it sounds like there's going to be more. So announcement, that's today. So next week, there's going to be a PKM SPS pool with initial liquidity provided by the team. I think this is when people can start actually buying it based on that liquidity pool. So sometime next week, also, or in 2 weeks, a week and a half, we'll see the first Peakmonsters tournament. So that'll be an interesting, get a taste of how those tournaments are going to be structured and if they're going to be potentially rewarding. Large transaction bonus airdrops. We'll get into that in a second, but this is something I think is really cool. Then there's the big airdrop. And then, this is the reward pool, I believe, that has the profit sharing on Peakmonsters if you stake your PKM with SPS. And then start of the weekly airdrops. So we're going to get into the airdrop stuff now, because that's sort of the big exciting right off the bat news. I'm really excited about this long term, but obviously people love airdrops, so we'll touch on that right now. So they're going to give out tokens to their most loyal users, and it's based on the two key metrics: yearly volume and a large transaction bonus. Now, so I've peeked at this. The large transaction bonus isn't as large as you think. So here, each transaction is $10 and up. And there's tables that I'm going to show after we read through this initial one. But basically, you're going to get rewarded some sort of PKM. It's on a structured basis of how much per transaction. Any order $10 or higher, you're going to get some sort of reward. And they break it out. I believe they could change it, but they've broken out the initial table, sort of how they plan on rewarding it. Then there's going to be the big airdrop, which is so it's based on your tier, which is based on your yearly volume or dollar volume spent. Yeah, market value for your tier. Yep. And then weekly ongoing airdrops based also on that same tier. So let's get into the table. So this is the white paper. I'm going to link both of these things in the description so you can pull it up and follow along. Let's start at the beginning. Again, I was just peeking at it before I made the video. This just has the schedule. This has sort of what some of the options obviously hold them. There'll be ways to use them for the new additional services, right? So maybe to utilize a service, you need to pay X amount of PKM tournaments. There's going to be a liquidity pool to share in the profits like we talked about. Let's talk a little bit more about the pool. I want more info on that before I really get into it, so I'm not even going to spend any time on it. Some token dynamic stuff. A lot of the current supply is marked for airdrops, which is great. The max supply is designated to handle a 10x increase in market use over the next 10 years. However, at current rate, max supply may not be depleted for 100 years. Okay, I actually like this. So they're basically saying we're going to put these out slow and over time, right? There's not going to be some big mass, like toss a bunch of coins out there, try to create FOMO and, you know, a rush to buy. They're saying we're set up so even if the marketplace 10x's, you know, this will be an ongoing 10-year thing, which I really like. It'll, you know, there won't be that initial craze where, you know, most likely the price, you know, you see these airdrops where the price, you know, quadruples or something like within the first 30 minutes and then crashes to almost nothing. So it sounds like we're not there. I'm sure it will be volatile, but they're more setting it up for the long-term holders. They're not trying to create this like massive, you know, event where everyone freaks out, which I like. So it seems like the ongoing airdrop. Yeah, you should read through this stuff on your own. I don't have much to say on it. It's all tokenomic stuff. You should, again, please do your own research. I'm not even talking about how valid I think this coin is, although my personal opinion is I like the idea. Okay, let's get into the airdrops, the exciting stuff. So this is based on your tier, which I'll show you how to get to actually right now. If you go to Peakmonsters, here's the homepage. If you click in the top right and you go to profile and you look here on the left, you will see your tier. I'm a Defender of Monsters tier 8. You can see what right now, the only peak perks that they had for your tier that I know of, maybe I wasn't utilizing some of them. It was based on the amount of bids you were allowed to put out there. So basically, I could put out bids for my in-game DEC balance times 16 because I was tier 8. So I could put a ton of bids out in the marketplace, and I wouldn't have to worry about sort of liquidity or them. It was almost like leverage, right? I could put bids out there beyond the DEC that I had. So if any of them filled, it would allow me to put out more advantageous bids. That's based on my sort of 8,000 plus 8,500 plus thousand account volume for the year rolling. I mean, I started playing months ago, so this will hold up throughout, you know, until the big airdrop. So I'm not worried about that. So I'm on 8. Well, I only need like 500 more to get to 9, so I'll probably end up getting to 9. But what that means is for the big airdrop, as of right now, I would get 1,800 PKM, and then ongoing about 34.5 once the weekly starts. This is what I would be looking at. And you can come here and judge for yourself, right, where you're going to be at. Maybe it makes sense to, you know, if you've been waiting to buy cards and you're like, I love Peakmonsters, maybe now you buy some cards to try to move up to these higher tiers to unlock more PKM. I'll definitely end up probably in 9. I don't think I'll be able to get to 10, but I'll be able to get to 9. So I can boost this up a little bit. So yeah, this is the airdrop information. And then this is another really cool thing. This will be the last thing I sort of talk about because I don't want to get too speculative. I just want to sort of show you guys this announcement, and it's something I'm personally excited for. So here we go. Any transaction over 10 USD, you'll get 1 PKM. And you can see the tiers that it breaks out here. So they start pretty low, right? Like $10 is a lot. Like if you buy 1 legendary card, some of them are $50, you'll get 6 PKM. I really like this aspect of it because it rewards ongoing users of Peakmonsters, right? There's not just one massive event in the beginning and then that's it, and then no one cares about it anymore. That's what you see with a lot of these airdrops. This is really structured differently. And they've set aside a lot of PKM to reward people over time and users of the tool and site itself. Like, just imagine, right? You have some staked, and so you're in the profit sharing. You come in, you're making a big buy, you get a bunch of PKM, you also get to benefit on the profit sharing side. So there just seems like there's going to be a ton of ways to use PKM along with Splinterlands that are going to be compounding advantageous for you to be utilizing both. So yeah, it's big news from Peakmonsters. For a long time I've said it was my favorite Splinterlands tool. It's basically where I go to check the market. It's where I make all of my market purchases, and I'm very stoked right now because I'm going to get a decent amount of these PKM. There's still time to sort of upgrade. Again, I wouldn't go nuts because I do not know how much PKM is going to be worth, right? For me, I'm just excited about any sort of initial reward because I'm going to be here for the long term. So, I can't imagine myself selling a bunch of PKM when it first gets dropped unless the price is outrageous, right? Which, who knows? But this is something I'm going to want for the long term. So any sort of additional rewards I can start stacking from like playing in this game and operating in this ecosystem, I'm super interested in. So the fact that my favorite marketplace is launching a token that I think is actually going to have utility, because a ton of these certain types of tokens are just very gimmicky or don't amount to much. But seems like they have a plan to actually get some use out of it. And again, I really like the slow, patient, long-term approach to how they're launching it. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys this information. Ultimately, I have no idea if PKM is going to be a good investment or not. It's something I'm excited about because I use the site. Not financial advice. Please come through and read through the entire white paper if you're thinking about buying it on the first day. Again, this stuff is very risky, and I want to be very clear on that right up front. So please read through this yourself, make your own decisions. Would love in the comments if what are your thoughts on this? I know some of you are like really great at this tokenomics stuff. It's not really my strong suit. So would love to hear what you guys think about sort of the token itself and its long-term viability. Like, how does this plan sound? Comment below. Again, all of these links will be in the description of the video. And I really appreciate you being here. If you learned anything new or enjoyed the content, I would love it if you could like and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow and get this content to more people. All right, have a great day. I will talk to you soon.